Welcome to the D&D Fitness Radio Podcast, brought to you by your hosts Don Saladino from New York City and Derek Hansen from Vancouver, Canada.
Yes, sir.
So it's Ray Care, Cash is his nickname, is a Navy SEAL veteran with multiple combat zone tours, which provided both high and low profile security protection for various government agencies. Upon leaving the SEAL teams and CIA of over 24 years combined, Ray turned his passion and SEAL team experience to the world of self-improvement and team building. He's become an accomplished team building expert and speaker on topics ranging from fitness and building high-functioning teams to organizational transformation. And I know right now you're working with people like you've teamed up with Bedros, with Steve Eckert, and you really have in a way. When I say reinvigorated your career, that's not, I mean, you were a SEAL. I mean, to me, that's the highest caliber you can be. And what you've done is one of the most impressive things I've seen. And we all owe you for your service. But now being able to pivot through through the one chapter of your life and coming to this, I think is pretty extraordinary.
Exactly. I haven't done anything different. All I've done is I surrounded myself with the best people I possibly could in the military. And I like the word you said, pivot, right? We say max flex, just shift the gunfire over. And I'm just trying to surround myself with the best humans I can possibly in the civilian world. And when you do that, Bedros runs, the company and our team, just like we would a platoon. It's really no different. I love it. It's just, I wear a different uniform. There's so many different similarities when you surround yourself with, the peak performance, coaches and people that the subject matter experts, they run it. I thought there'd be this crazy transformation in this period where I was going to be lost, and nothing's changed. I mean, only thing I get to do now is grow my hair out longer. That's it. That's the only difference. And I get, a little bit more money, but again, I've never been a guy that really focuses on that aspect. I'm more about helping others.
So Bedros was the founder. So I can never say his last name. Koulian,
yes, sir.
Koulian, yeah. So Bedros Koulian, I did say it right. He was the Fit Body Bootcamp guy, right? Wasn't he he was the CEO, the founder, right?
Founder of that, and then he does a lot of public speaking. He owns, I think, 7 different companies that are all, doing very well. I'm going to be part owner in one of the corporate team building companies that he has. So I'm excited about that. Any small piece of something of Bedros is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, no, I obviously know he's extremely successful in a way, kind of like, similarities to almost a Tony Robbins, right? In a way, but he was more fitness inspired. So he came from more of a fitness background of starting a Fit Body Bootcamp. So was a huge company. I mean, I'm assuming he sold it for a pretty large number, or does he still own it?
He still owns all the franchise rights. He will, I think, eventually. That's his goal. But he does. Him and Tony have the same footprint. I mean, Tony's is physically, actually, Bedros has a huge foot too, but their imprint is the same thing. They just have different avenues, like we talked about. Very similar, but they have some things that aren't so much similar. But they definitely both, the key is success. They're both very successful men.
Derek, have you heard of Fit Body Bootcamp?
I have not.
Derek's in Vancouver.
I will tell you, okay, they have a bunch of them up there, up in Canada. My wife started doing it a year or two ago. She's done over 400 classes, and she was already a really fit woman. But I mean, she has leaned up, toned up, gotten more confidence, and they have fun. Like it's not like going to an iron asylum. Like you're not going in there and throwing lead around. It's 25 minutes of circuit interval training where they're going from station to station. They were having to stay in their cubes because of COVID, and they recently, now you can move from station to station. You have a quick transitional. I've done it. It's just not set up for military people and people who travel a lot, because they want you, like, if I can only go 2 days a month because I'm on the road, or, because I'm like, if I'm doing the project, I'm out for a week. I want to be able to freeze that or say, hey, can I just do a 2-week plan? And they don't do that. So so all I do is I just take her workouts when she's done and I incorporate them to what I'm doing. So I cheat.
So they don't do that for military though? We gotta have a
They,
talk with Vedros here.
well, I'll tell you this. I think each franchise does it their own way. The
Sure.
franchise where we're at's a little different. Bedros is huge, pro military, he's just so for it. But I think, there's certain things that have to be applied that Bedros has his rules, but then each individual owner can have a little bit more leeway of what they want to do. I'm not sure about that. I don't get into the franchise agreements.
No, I get it. And I understand it's a business and I'm just joking around. I mean, Bedros, I've never charged anyone in the military. I just want you to know that. Never taken a cent.
Oh, there we go. Hey, I like that.
Yeah, I've never, and you can speak to Dr. G's husband. You could speak to all the SEALs, and I can't mention the teams that would come in. Never took a cent from any of them, and that's when I had a club for 15 years. So I just feel like, you know what, there's money to be made out there, but I feel like there's certain people that we have to take really good care of, and you guys are definitely one of them.
We definitely appreciate it.
Awesome. So D, you have anything you want to add?
No, I just want to hear from Ray and just again, everything from like his training.
Yeah, we'd love to hear that, Ray, if you don't mind.
How things started for him, how things have evolved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we hear your story a little bit? Like kind of backing up, like why'd you want to become a SEAL? How grueling was that? I mean, I know
I love it.
I think our listenership would really appreciate that also.
So, in order to talk about where you come from, you got to talk about where you've been, right? So, it all starts with me I just talk about life ambush. Jason Redman talks about life ambushes. I talk about getting mortared, right? Incoming fire that hits you. And from an early age, I've been getting rocked with negativity. My parents divorced when I was very young, excuse me. I lived with my father. He was murdered when I was 11, went to go live with my mother. Didn't have a real tight relationship with her. Did okay in school. I was a jock. I was really good at sports, but I really didn't give a crap about school. I mean, I was a C, a D, I was nothing special. And I decided to go to a community college. I was doing some roofing and I was just going through life with blinders on, Mom always telling me, you're useless, you're worthless, you got to figure out something. And I finally just, I took the leap of faith. I was reading some pamphlets, back then you didn't have all this cool internet stuff that you do and all this. And I wanted to go into the military. And true story, I wanted to try the Air Force first. I took the ASVAB, I bombed it, just bombed it. That's the educational, vocational aptitude test that you take for the military, just bombed it. We don't even want to get into scores. I'll laugh myself right out of here. And they said Air Force is no. So I was like, oh, shit, I don't know about the Army Marines because I've heard some horror stories. So I went over to the Navy. And when I went in there, the recruiter, right, I was thinking, okay, he's going to sell me up. I saw this pamphlet on Navy SEALs and these guys, they were larger than life. And it said the things that they did. And I was like, oh, shit, that's what I want to do. And as God is my witness, he's like, yeah, I don't think that's for you. And I was like, wait a minute. You mean I can't do that? And he told me, you don't have the ASVAB scores to go in because you have to have combined mechanical and mathematical. And, if a train's going 50 miles an hour east and one's going 60 miles an hour west, I told him, I don't know. I've never been on a train before, but this is what I want to do. So what do I have to do? He goes, well, join the Navy and, study and take the ASVAB test again. So long story short, got stationed out in Seattle, Washington on neutral duty. So I would go out on a boat during the day and then come back. It was awesome. I just was one of the guys that went through boot camp, did what I was told, didn't cause trouble and stepped up. Took the ASVAB test again. I had to wait 6 more months, missed it by 1 point. Everybody told me, you're never going to make it. Give up. Called my mother. She's like, give up. It's not for you. And, that's where I made a turn and I said, enough, because I was trying to do it myself, right? I was trying to do it internal. I asked for external help. I spoke to the man who was in charge of me, who was in charge of the boat I was on. I said, listen, this is what I want to do. I need to get some help because obviously I'm not good at mathematics. My command helped me out. We got, and I had to wait another 6 months. I took the test again. And true story, this is what started all off. I'm standing in front of this gentleman. His name was YN1 Conklin. He's the one that would get the grades. And we became friends, and I was a hard charger. And I'm standing in front of him, and I'm like an E1, and he's an E6. You didn't have to salute him, but you have to show some respect. He goes, "How do you think you did?" And I'm like sweating bullets, man. And I'm like, "Oh God, I don't know." And he goes, he doesn't even look up at me. He's like doing something. He goes, "You passed." And the first thing I asked him was, I'm an overachiever. What was my score? And he looked up at me and he goes, "Does it matter?" And I thought about it, and I was like, well, damn it, I worked so hard. I want to know. Well, years later, after I graduated Buds, he reached out to me and he said, "You only made it by 2 points, but I didn't want to discourage you." He goes, "But the point is you made it." So all the pain, awesome. All the suffering, all the sacrifice is what led me up to showing up to Buds Class 200 and making it through the first time. It's like guys were bigger than me, faster than me, and I just didn't care.
You just outwilled them.
Exactly. Yes, sir. I knew that, there out of 100, there was 138 of us that started. Only 16 original made it. We had 50 graduate, but only 16 Iron Horses made it. I was one of the Iron Horses. And what I thought to myself was, these are the 16 mofos that had to go through exactly what I went through. Right. It wasn't 2 years of suffering. It was a lifetime.
No, and please, Derek and I never want to overstep, and we never want to ask anything that's uncomfortable. Please. Or that you can't discuss. But can you? It's funny. I know so many SEALs, yet I'm always hesitant to ask about what is training like. Like what is that? Hell Week. Are you allowed to talk about that stuff? Yeah. What can you give us a little information and a little taste and tell everyone like what did you actually have to go through? Because this is, I got to say this, I've said this on 100 podcasts, Derek. I laugh when, you get the Wall Street guy writing the book about, I hired a SEAL and you're like, okay, you're not a SEAL. You're yes. a Wall Street guy. Like, please, grow up. It's okay. I know you want to be a SEAL, but you didn't have to go through you hiring a SEAL and bring him into your Park Ave apartment and training with the guy for a month isn't the same thing. It's not. So, they don't call it Hell Week because it's heaven. That's what I'll tell you. That's what I tell everybody. It right. is, what's funny is everybody think Buds is so physically demanding. It's so emotional and mental. You hear the words drink the Kool-Aid and imagine just for 6 months. And I don't know, just getting your ass kicked, just physically, mentally, and emotionally. No, even if you win, you're going to get punished for something someone else did. You're just like a beat dog. And what it is it's the weeding out process. Like I talked about in one of the shows I did. In Buds, they weed out the weak, and then they actually weed out the strong. They don't want strong. They want the strongest so they can make them even, better. And Hell Week, we averaged 2-3 hours of sleep in 5 days, burning, they say 10 to 15,000 calories, which I didn't think was possible. I lost 16 pounds. In Hell Week, eating, I think 3 or 4 meals a day. We were in the Smurf crew, the shortest crew. We lost everything. We sucked because we just weren't genetically, if you have a guy that's built like me, that's 6'5" and he's got a longer stride, and he's in the same shape, he's going to get there faster. So it wasn't that we weren't putting out. We just didn't have the stride or the height or the, to do it, but we had the will, so we didn't quit. It's miserable. It's miserable, and it's also probably one of the most exhilarating things you do because the body is so strong. You just, the mind is what gives up, and that's what Buds is about. Everybody always says, what is it? I always tell everybody it's 80% mental, right? It's 15% physical, and it's 5% luck. They're like, what do you mean luck? Old misery. It's a log that's almost 600 pounds. True story. They've tried stealing it and throwing it out in the ocean. It's come back. They've lit it on fire. It won't die. We swear it's cursed. It's huge. It's just this block of wood that you have to carry. And we had it all the damn time because we lost everything, but we just refused to quit. And all I have to say to people is, and this is what drives me nuts, is, all these kids, they watch the movies and they play the video games and they do this. And what frustrates me so much with society is people that tell me all the time, they're like, I want to be a Navy SEAL. I want to be a Navy SEAL. I'm like, you've got it wrong. You've got a need to be a Navy SEAL. Like I have a guy who wrote me today, Mr. Ray, I'm worried about quitting. Yeah.
what did you think about, did you ever think about quitting? I'm like, no. Like, what were you going to do if you didn't make it through buds? I didn't have a plan B. I don't know, because if you want something that hard, now, if I would have medically got dropped, if I would have broke something, I get that. At least I gave it all I had, but ringing the bell was not in my plan. And it still isn't. I actually bought a bell the day I graduated buds, and I still have that bell. We use it at the project. I refuse to ring the bell on anything in my life. I tell people to get a bell. Coach Alosi, who we were talking about, he has a bell. He had a bell at UCLA. He had a bell at UConn. Hang that bell up there and show people that bell represents quitting, not only yourself, but your team. And I won't allow it. And a lot of the coaching that I do, even though people are seeing the physical aspects of it, what I'm really doing is I'm digging into their head and reprogramming and rewiring them. It's one of the things, it's one of the questions I always do, and I'll prove it to you, right? Both you guys on here, just fill in the blanks, right? We've never met before. Mm-hmm. I know you're both very smart men. What do you do before you cross the street? Go.
Look both ways.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever been hit by a car crossing the street?
No.
Okay. Do you have children?
Yes.
How old are your children?
13 and turning 12 next week.
I bet you I could ask both of your children the same damn question. They would respond with the same damn answer. Do you agree?
Yeah, probably.
Probably, I hope.
Derek?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's because, right, not only are you programmable, but you know how to program. We've been programmed our whole life, right? I don't get into religion. Heaven represents good. Hell represents bad, right? My wife taught both my children an oven is hot. She didn't put their hand on the oven. Hot. Now let's go one step farther. Let's test you guys, right? Let's try it again. You might get this. You can only do two things in life. Two things and two things only. I told this to Bedros Cooley. I've even told this to Mr. Robbins. Two things. You can only W and L. You guys are athletes. You train athletes, and you know that. In life, you only W and L. You're a W'er or an L'er. You're W'ing or L'ing. Now, Don, what does W stand for?
Win.
You're damn right it does. D, what does L stand for?
Lose.
No, it doesn't. It's okay.
You got it wrong.
See, that's how I get. That's why I did that. I wasn't going to have Don get it wrong. No, yeah. Because of this, right? And I got to use because what I teach isn't just in the business field. It's battlefield, business field, and home field. You have to be able to apply these rules to everything. You only win and learn. The only way you lose is if you quit.
Yeah.
And people ask me, give me an example outside of SEAL teams, and I will. And I'm not embarrassed about this. I married my wife. She had a son from a previous marriage. This has nothing to do with fitness. This is my mentality. Mm-hmm. And the father owed a bunch of money, child support, whatever that stuff is. I don't know, whatever. And I wanted him. And I said, hey, listen, I want to adopt your son. I want to make him mine. He's like, never. And I said, I will draft up a piece of paper that will, rid you of all the money you owe, and I'll take it. He goes, where do I sign? Wow. Sent it to him, got it notarized, sent it back. Maybe you want to say goodbye to your son. Nope, I'm good. Now, see, I would never quit on my children. Do both of you have children?
Yes.
I'll never quit on my children, but I'll learn from my children. I have a daughter who's 12. I'm learning every day that I embarrass her. And every day she gets older, she wants to be farther and farther away from me. But I'm not going to quit on her, just like the guy quit on my son because he quit. So he's a quitter. And the reason why I say if you're a quitter, you're a loser, is because he lost out on all those amazing memories that I made with my son, who's now 26.
Right.
So I try to instill that battlefield, business field, home field. You only lose if you quit. Now I'll give you an example. When you guys were gotten new into the business of fitness, you're telling me you never made mistakes?
Of course.
Of course.
Derek,
Exactly. We have an AAR, or after action report. We write that down so we learn from those mistakes and we don't do them again. All I do is take what I've learned from the military and I apply it to whatever I'm doing. Bedros and them are like, I never thought of it like that. Because even if we lose people in battle, right, which we have, there's lessons learned. So because we try not to do that again, we're never going to quit. They didn't quit. They just were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I got a question though.
Yes, sir.
Derek, you can add to this if you want. And this is all, obviously fascinating and we appreciate your honesty and the stories. But I feel like when someone has drive, I almost feel like that's something that you're born with. That's something that at a young life, you were pushed into that direction. Like, I mean, you talked about, I have some history as a young kid and specific things that I really believe molded me into every run, every hill that I ever climbed, or every sprint I've ever done. I've literally developed a fear of stopping. And I'll never forget. I have a hill in by my parents' house called Snake Hill Road, and it's literally like the pitch is like this, and it would be the end of every run I would do almost every day growing up. And every time I hit that run, I would just say to myself, "Don't you fucking stop." And I was saying at 15, 16 years old, you stop, you're going to stop with everything else in life. You cannot ever stop. And I remember specific times running up that hill and projectile vomiting while I'm running. I wouldn't even stop to projectile vomit because it was a mindset. But I feel like, I'm not saying that to sound tough. I'm saying that because I feel like that was something that was born in me. How do you coach someone? How do you explain to someone how not to quit when they don't have those specific things that geared them in that direction? If they're soft, like, face it, there's a lot of people out there, Derek. I'm not saying Derek as in Derek. I'm saying, Derek, you've seen it. They're just soft and they don't want to put their foot on the gas. And when their heart rate gets to a certain point, they're like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And they stop. How do you start training them to think differently and believe in themselves?
Well, so about a year ago, Doc G. She doesn't like to be called Gabby. Dr. Gabrielle Lyons. I can't call her Doc.
G.
Yeah, she doesn't
So
like
kick both our asses.
I know. So I was speaking at an event, and for the longest time, people were calling me a motivational speaker, a fitness coach, which I'm really not, or subject matter expert. And then I tried thinking to myself, what is the one fucking thing that has helped me through my life, right? Because you said, are you born into it? We all have it. That's number one. We all have drive. We all have desire. But as time goes on, right, things wear and tear. They get worn down. So what do? I have come up with the concept. I figured out what I am. And this is what it is. I am a pain coach. I focus on pain. And there's different types of pain that men and women deal with: mental, physical, emotional, social, spiritual, and sexual pain. That's your main pains. You can branch off from there, but they are the 6 main pains that people deal with. Physical, trying to grow. And what I've learned is this. I remember sitting down with Bedros and I said, I have learned how to profit from pain. So, and this is what I came up with. And this is what I tell people, my coaches, and I tell them, or my clients, have you ever dealt with any of those 6 pains? Yes. And I'll put what they are, circle them. And they'll circle them, and then we'll discuss them, and I'll be like, okay. Men and women have demons in their closet. There's some demons that you can kill, and there's some you can't. If you were sexually abused as a child, you can't kill that. I know that for a fact because that's happened to someone in my household. Obviously, the adults, not the children. Make that very clear. But you can name it, claim it, and tame it. So the first thing I try to teach people is you have to name, claim, and tame the beast or the demon that you have within you, because that's what's holding you, your foot. That's what's the governor that you have on the car. That's what's keeping you at a safe speed, because you're scared to put the foot down because you're worried about the pain. And then I break down my equation to pain. Pain equals growth. Growth equals power. Power equals knowledge, and knowledge equals profit. And this is what I tell people. The first thing I tell people is stop thinking that profit is monetary standpoint. It's not. Profit is growth. If you can be 1% better in something that you're doing, right? Like I do a 1,200 push-up challenge every Sunday, and I have people that can't do it. I have women that can't do it. And this is my motto: do more, do less, just do. And that's what I explain to people. Life is about moderation and modification. It's not a measuring contest, right? It's not. You are human. I'm human. We all suffer. We all have fear. We all have doubts. We all have frustrations. We do. But what I try to do is teach people. I reverse engineer them. I get in their head and I tell them, number one, you're not alone. You're not. True story. 1 out of 4 men in the United States, look it up, have been sexually molested or abused in their life. We deal with this every other month in the project. I thought it was only like a few people in the world. It's not. I've realized that men have been, there's all these different pains. And then my wife deals with groups, and we're not alone. So once people realize that they're not alone, they'll put a little bit more pressure on the pedal. And then once they do that, and we start rewiring in their mind, because people try to kill. The reason why they're trying to keep that pedal there is they're so scared of what's going to happen when they put it down, because they're like, I can't kill that beast. Rob O'Neill, the guy who just killed Osama bin Laden, is one of my best friends. Me, him, and Kid Rock just had the same conversation over a couple drinks. He's been trying to kill some demons that he will never be able to kill. And I told him, you need to name them, claim them, and tame them. There's certain things in life that you cannot kill. They just won't die. So how are you going to be better? Accepting the fact that, one, we need to establish together what you can kill and what you need to tame. 2, you're not alone. 3, this is what I'm going to tell you. You're not the only person that's been scared to step on that gas pedal. I'm going to use your analogy. And then 4 is, listen, if we take the governor off and you and I both stomp on the gas at the same time, the 3 of us, our cars are going to go faster. Who gives a fuck how fast, who wins? Let's just go faster. And I try to break things down into whatever that person's life is. You use the pedal, somebody will use something else. I try to make the terms relative to them. Obviously doing updates, making them accountable, explaining the difference between being accountable and responsible, making them take full ownership. And then what I do is I make them incorporate my 3-step process to decision-making. And it's that simple. It's 3 steps. Ask, make, take. Ask, what is the problem? What do I need to deal with? What is the obstruction? Make a decision. But then what do people never do? Why are they scared to step on the gas? Because they won't take action. Take action. Speed of implementation. The faster you step on that pedal, the faster you're going to see where you're going to go. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm driving faster and faster every day.
Right.
And I love it.
Right.
I love it. And I'm not going to stop. So yes, everybody has it. You just need to tap into what I call your inner roar, and you need to just let it go. And
it
people
just
are
needs to be something that also gets trained a little bit too, right?
Yes, sir. And we talked about that. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I believe in educating yourself, surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals. Like me, I don't want to surround myself with people who are at my level or beneath me. I won't, right? I married a woman I have no business being with. I surround myself. I'm here talking to you guys. I'm a dumb Irish kid from Baltimore. But I go up, no. And people are like, you sell yourself short. No, there's certain things that I'm really intelligent with, but there's certain things I need a lot of work with. And it's because for the longest time I was ignorant. That's why I called myself dumb. But now, like you said, I educate myself. I am the guy that will walk up to you if you're talking to 10,000 people and just go, my name is Ray Care. I love what you're doing. I was wondering if we could take 5 minutes so I could pick your brain.
Right.
And usually if it's done in an authentic, polite manner, people like your caliber will be like, yeah, that's how I met Bedros. He was like, really? Yeah. So I'd love to talk to you. We went and had a drink and not looking back.
Well, that's also one of the things I think I was the most impressed with all the SEALs that I've been around and I've worked with is I was almost beyond shocked on their level of calmness, on their level of humility, how they were they come into a room and they're just kind of quiet. Like, is that something you think training does to most of you guys? Does it really kind of almost tone you down? And this is not in reference to energy, because you're a high energy person. I'm a high energy person.
Well, a lot of us are taught, kill them with kindness, kill them with being humble. I don't need to walk into a room, and usually people that go into the room that talk the loudest have the least to say.
Yeah. So
a lot of us have a lot to say, but, situational awareness, when I go into a room, like I don't just get on here with you. When we call, I do my research. I'm a research guy. You're telling me what you guys do. I already fucking know what you guys do. It's a battle, no matter what. That's how I look at it. So when I go into any room, I think the reason why we're doing that is we're strategically just absorbing information and, communication, transmit and receive. I'm just receiving everything before I transmit. Back in the day when I was young and I wasn't disciplined, I would just talk. And that's the difference between people hearing and listening to you. When you have something to say, like if I have something legit to say, people usually will listen because I haven't just gone in saying who I am. Oh, did you know he was a Navy SEAL? And then it creates a little bit of curiosity and there's some mystery, but yeah. And that's the thing, we don't usually go around bragging what we do, because there's so many great human beings out there that are still doing it. That's why I say former Navy SEAL. I mean, I was a Navy SEAL, but there's guys out there, man, that make me look like it. They're awesome, So kill them with being humble, and that's what I think that's why we do it. But we're very strategic when we walk into a room. Not saying we have a plan. I'm just always collecting data for my atmospherics. I always want to know what's going on.
I think that's something that Derek did as well as anyone I've ever known, because he is incredibly knowledgeable at what he does. But Derek's, as you can tell, a little bit more quiet. He's a little bit more reserved in this conversation. He'll sit there and almost kind of seem like that he's not, I'm not going to say not listening. He's always listening. And the second you ask him to open his mouth, he's always, Derek, I passed this comment about you the other day. You're always very almost slow to respond in a way, but it's something that I've actually learned. I'm trying to incorporate into my life a little bit, where you don't always have to jump out at them. You can absorb, you can think about it. Derek's very, very thoughtful in that sense. Derek, is that a way you've always been? Or did you have to work at that?
I've been married for over 21 years, so yes. So it's a learned response. But I was just thinking about what Ray was saying about, he's kind of like a pain science practitioner, and he's given a very cerebral approach to it, right? Whereas if you hear about boot camps and in the fitness industry, and where Ray, do you advise people okay, we have to have some degree of pain and suffering in a measured way? When does it go off the rails and people take advantage of that power, I guess, to inflict pain? Whereas you almost mentioned it, it's a bit of a screening process as part of what you went through, or a filtering process. And other people I've talked to have been in different special forces and military always said, that's a big part of screening. The actual training is very precise. It's very measured. It's very, the stuff that we learned. And how do you separate those things out so that people understand when you should suffer as opposed to when you should learn? I mean, and there's some overlap there, but yeah.
I think there's a delicate balance where you have to, and that's what comes with great trainers, educators, where they find that balance, right? So perfect example, the first day that you show up at BUD/S, the first thing they do is they do the PST test, which is like a 3-mile run, max push-ups in 2 minutes, sit-ups, pull-ups, and then a swim. But the thing is they're not being brutal. They just my idea of a perfect push-up and your idea of a perfect push-up might be two different things. But when you're there, if you're giving me the test, yours is the only one that matters. So a lot of people, I don't want to say it's brutal. It's just when the shit hits the fan, right? We need to see how people are going to react. So what do? We want to throw them into those situations. We have the beehive where we throw people in the water and people think it's cruel, and we're treading water and we're kicking each other in their privates and we're pulling on. And it's horrible, but you need to see, but there's a reason for it, right? I don't mind giving pain as long as there is a lesson attached to it. Like with everything I do with the project and my stuff, people have to suffer to succeed. They have to, because if not, then it's just called, pardon my language, winning the fucking lottery. That's all it's called, So you didn't get where you're at without suffering in some fashion, right? There's different ways to suffer than just physical. That's the thing. SEAL training, we have to study. We have to study at night. Imagine getting your ass kicked all day long, and then you have to study physics. But you have to think about the greater good. What's going to happen if I do this, or what's going to happen if I don't, right? So that's how I weigh things. And every time, and BUD/S so much when you first start off, the one thing, and a lot of the spec ops training groups, there is no rhyme or reason that you can fathom. But as you start learning, right, and you start seeing how you develop from the inside out, right, the internal, because I have to believe in myself, believe in my brothers. Once we establish that bond, it's like when you skydive. The first time you skydive, they're like, what did you see? I saw my altimeter. Well, as you skydive a couple hundred times, that altimeter, you start just peeking at it and you start looking around more. Well, the same thing happens in the spec ops training, because by the time that they start training you, they know that you're trainable. We're going to go back to remember that train and trainable, programmable, so that they can let up. Now, they're going to dial you in, because what do humans do when they get comfortable? We get lethargic, we get lazy, we get comfortable. They dial you right back in, and they have to do that. They have to show you in the spec ops training who the alpha dog is, right? You throw a bunch of dogs in a cage, there has to be one dog, and that's the instructors that run it. If not, the dogs are going to run all over. That's just us as a human nature. So what is the difference between, differentiating how it is? It's great instruction, because they will push you to the limit. Like, the human body and mind is a race engine, right? And literally, buds, they red line, and they do that, and they pull you back. But obviously, they want the best product they can, and they do it in a safe manner. Now, do training accidents happen? Of course they do. I've seen people at gyms working out die and have a heart attack. There's things beyond our capability, but if you show up prepared as mentally and physically and emotionally as you can, drink the Kool-Aid, take the suffering, and understand that with the suffering is going to come success. Trust in yourself, trust in your brothers, and believe me, you better trust in your the cadre, the instructors. You will succeed. The people that don't succeed give up on themselves. They're not willing to push down on that pedal, or when they push down on that pedal, I use the same acronym with attacking the hill. They don't like how fast they're going. I use the same acronym with climbing up the hill, attack the hill. People climb up the hill and they start getting successful. They get scared of heights and they want to climb back down. I'm like, no, you're going the right way. The reason why nobody else is up there is nobody wants to do it.
I do believe that there is a level of discomfort that an individual has to go through I believe to get to a specific level. So, and just a quick example, Derek and I have been in the training and strength and conditioning world for over 20 years so far. And there's these two different worlds out there. I find it kind of comical. Like, you've got the strength and conditioning, you've got the very scientific approach, you have that world of like everything's very thought out, et cetera. And then, you go into another world where intensity. And I believe we got to find that in the middle. Like, yes, there is educated programming. We shouldn't be going into a CrossFit, workout of the day with an individual who can't stand up straight or can't externally rotate their shoulders and have them split jerk overhead. That to me is, that's a poor decision for that client.
Yes,
but
sir.
When you guys are in the field of battle, when you guys have to legitimately train, like, you're training your mind as much as you're training your body. And that's what people don't understand. Like, you're training that threshold of, oh my God, I can't do this, or I don't think I could do this, or oh my God, I feel like I'm going to fucking die. And by continuing, and you fall a little short. And the next time you come back in and you're like, I got to beat it. I need a little more. And in a way, yeah, you're training the mind as much, if not more, than you're training the body. And I do believe that's important. I feel like where things get lost in our world and Derek and mine's world is people will take such a scientific approach and everyone's overtrained and everyone's like, oh, I need a day off. And I'm like, no, you don't. Like, you're 1,000 calories short right now, or you've slept 3 hours the last 4 nights, or you're drinking alcohol. Like, they want to exhaust everything else but the obvious. So I am not for 1 second sitting here going, this is like intensity. Like, no, like we have to build intensity over time. When we're working with General Pop and I have a specific clientele I'm working with, and they've always want it. Like, they don't have what you have upstairs. They haven't trained that yet. I try and tell them, listen, let's just be consistent. Low volume. We'll turn up the volume as time goes on.
Yes.
Push it a little bit more. Push it. Oh, you hurt your ankle? All right, let's back off. No, let's get you back. Push you a little bit more. And you're almost retraining, decades and decades of what I believe is poor habit.
No, I agree. I tell people the same thing. And my light is, you can win a ball game by not only hitting home runs, but by doing singles and bunts and doubles. So the thing is it's just small incremental climbs that you have to do. The mind, like you said, I agree with you 1,000%. Buds is a mindset game. People are like, oh, it's the logs, and it's that anybody can hold something over their head. But when you do it for a long period of time, the thing that's going to kill you is that inner dialogue. So that's the one thing that I have killed and learned how to tame, because it always comes back. It's so easy to quit. It's so easy to have a cheeseburger. It's so easy, but it's also so easy to do what I do, which is a self-reflection drill, where I look in the mirror And people always ask me, Ray, what was your secret to graduating buds? Here it is. There's three things. Three things. You ready for this? I'm gonna give you a million. One, don't quit. That's it. People are like, that's stupid. No, it's not. Don't quit. Number two, do a self-reflection drill. I want you to fast forward in your life. I was 23 years old, and this is what I did. I fast forwarded in my life, and I knew that I would marry a woman that I have no business being with. Her and Dr. G are great friends. Gorgeous. No business being with her. I knew I was going to have children with her. All I do is I look in the mirror and I put that word, the word that I hate, quitter, right across my face. And every morning I look in the mirror, it's either going to say winner or quitter, because learning, it doesn't bother me. Learning's fine, but I'm only going to W or L, and that's where I change it. I'm a loser because I quit, and that got me through buds. And the other one is simply this, and I don't care how arrogant I sound, because I know I'm talking to alphas. What keeps me up at night is the fear of being average. That scares me more than anything. My tombstone saying, here lies Ray Care, an average guy. You're born, there's the dash, and you die. Right? My dash is now. Like, that's why every day I get up, it's like I won the lottery.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't find anything arrogant out of that, Derek. I mean, I actually admire that mentality. I've actually been around a few women as of recently, no one family related, but people that I've been in the coaching world, and I've seen these women over the last 4 or 5 months, or even a couple of men, go from little scared puppies to sitting there now projecting themselves in a light where I looked at one of them the other day and I said, I don't even recognize you. Like, your voice is different. You look different. In the beginning, you were like, I don't know if I can do this. Right now, she looked at me and she says, it's not whether I'm going to do it or not. It's how soon am I going to hit that goal? Like, I'm there. And you start seeing and that was not something she was born with or he was born with. That was something over the last couple of months these people trained. And I think that was the main reason why I wanted to bring you on today. Because in my eyes, when it comes down to success, winning, drive, determination, every word, grit, you guys, I think, exemplify that as good as anyone on the planet. Bar none, I think you guys are the gold standard there. So I think bringing you on today wasn't to get sciencey. It wasn't to talk about, how many sets and how many reps. Fuck all that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like all that stuff, that's just a guideline. That's just a template to make sure that we stay in the lane. What does it take every day for you to wake up? And those 3 points right there, what was it? You said average, you said being average, you said quitting, and the third one was
self-reflection drill. I do
that. Can you give us that? Can you go through like a self-reflection drill?
Yes, I can. I would love to
hear this. Yeah.
So I live my life by 4 things. I got this tattooed on my hand. It's a little shark. It's my 4 F-bombs. I live by this. They're my 4 obligations in life.
Right.
Family, fitness, finances, and faith. Faith for me is religion, but I don't teach religion. I don't teach politics to people. I stay out of that realm. I tell people faith is the ability to be programmed. Just like I do with you. I program my clients. My wife has been programmed. Listen, you want to call it fucking brainwashing? I don't care what you call it. As long as it provides productivity and time plus effort gives you results.
As long as it works.
Call it whatever you want.
Right.
Because people are like, that's brainwashing. Who cares? If you're going to brainwash somebody to be awesome, do it. So family, fitness, finances, and faith. And this is what I do. They're my 4 obligations, right? Think of it like this. That is the foundation of my house. If you have a crappy foundation of a house, you could have a $2 million beautiful home. You have a crappy foundation. What is that house going to do? It's going to crumble. Mm-hmm. So you have to create, right? I'm not worried about the cosmetics. I'm worried about the foundation. I focus on those things. I get up every morning. I look in the mirror and go, okay, what can I do to be the best father, husband, and friend I can? Fitness. Brother, I get my workouts in. I've been going a little extra harder. I knew I was like, okay, I got to make sure hey, be vain, have fun. You know who you're going with. You got to look good. Family, fitness, finances. What can I do to learn to earn? Not just, again, finances isn't just a monetary standpoint. Education, knowledge, trust, relationships, and then faith. The biggest advice I tell people, and I tell both of you to do this too. Bedros, all the people I meet, I tell them, people have POLs and then develop an MOL. Pattern of life. People are creatures of habit. How did we kill Osama bin Laden? His cell phone hits off towers and it creates a footprint. Remember we talked about the footprint. When he rests, we know where he's at. Rob's my best friend. We knew where he was going to be. Humans do the same thing. But people also have habits of, I know you've heard it, the average person has 12 to 60,000 thoughts, which could be negative, right? Of that, 80% of those, of that number of thoughts, 80% of the 60,000 could be negative thoughts. That's horrible. So you need to start programming yourself with an MOL. Every morning I get up, this is what I say to myself. It's the first and last thing I do before I go to bed. This is the self-reflection drill. I either look in the mirror if I can, or I do it with my internal voice and I yell, be great today, be a bitch tomorrow. I'm going to give you maximum effort, productivity, time plus effort is going to give me max results. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it again. I don't rest either. When you said that, I was like, thank you. Thank you. I don't rest. I just, even my days of resting are active recovery. I don't care. Right. I'm just going to train. I listen to my body, but
it's more mental because it's more mental for you at this point. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's almost harder to remove it at this point in your life than for you to go a little, that extra day to where you're a little tired and a little beaten up. I think this becomes my training partner of 17 years, my best friend. His name's, we call him Tone. He's going to be 60 years old next year. I mean, the guy, wow. I saw him do 5 strict pull-ups with 200 pounds around his waist at 59 years old. And his body's like granite. Unfortunately, he had some lower body injuries that, we've really had to work on. But he said something to me that I'll never forget when we started training together 16 years ago. He looked at me because his body's like granite. And I said, just curious, what drives you on all this? I know what drives me, but what drives you? And he just looked at me and this is all he said. He goes, this is part of my survival. This is part of my survival. This is like, I need this to survive. And for me, training is less about being on a cover or being able to do a certain vertical or being able to sprint a certain, distance in time. It's all about this for me. It's all about my survival. And that's why when someone's like, well, what are your goals? Like, I'm like, my goals are just to go in and just crush that workout and do what I have to do and stay on track. And like, that's always been my goal. My goal is the feeling 30 seconds after that workout finishes. That's my goal,
I love it. That's why people always ask me, Ray, how do you do so many push-ups? Because I have men, women, children, have a big following, I've had, Mike, I've had Phil Heath. They're just like, dude, how many push-ups do you? I just talked to Phil Heath. I said, I do them all. He goes, yeah. What do you mean? He loves that, right? I mean, they got,
I love O'Hearn.
I do them all. And I said, I will do them all. And because
so you do 1,200 every Sunday. You have a challenge every Sunday. And
every Sunday. Well, we didn't start with 1,200. We started with, it's just time under tension, time under load. Obviously it's about 20 seconds of work. And then obviously if we're going to get something, the lactic acid, I try to move for about 40 seconds. I do it again. So I started with 17. We did that for a couple of weeks, 18, 19. Now we're up to 20. Now I have women that are like, Ray, and hey guys, we're all professionals here. Girls, get on your knees. No one giggles. Kids do them. Hey, you can't do that. DM me. We'll do a modification. Sure. We have ladies doing jump. We don't care.
I love it.
And I mean, Clark's come on, Mr. Bartram. We've had, movie stars come on. Kid Rock's supposed to be coming on. It's join in. And the thing is everybody always asks, how many are you doing? I do them all.
I'm doing them all. Well, Dee and I want an invite one day. So, Dee, you're going to join me from Vancouver. We're going to come on. Dee, we're going to do them all.
Do them all. I've had a few people. I've had one of the stars of SEAL Team. He went toe-to-toe with me. Chris Cavallini from Nutrition Solutions went toe-to-toe with me. I mean, and they're sore afterwards. I've had a couple SEALs go on, but it's like anything else. It's building endurance. But I tell everybody, and this is what's so key, it is not a physical activity that I'm doing. It's mental. Mm-hmm. It's so easy to move the camera, say you lost connection, give up, let off the pedal. I'm going to use your analogy. Or you could just go balls to the walls and know the difference between being hurt and injured, right? I actually told Coach Alosi that. I was like, Coach, he's like, do you know what the difference about injured and hurt is? I said, yes, sir. He goes, why don't you tell me yours in your non-scientific way? And this is what I apologize. I said, injured is a legit injury, right? And it could sustain injury longer. Hurt is your ego, your attitude, or what you're missing between your legs now because you're a big pussy. Wow.
That's really funny.
So,
Derek,
but
use that on your athletes next time. Use that on your athletes next time. I
but it
absolutely love it.
works.
Well, listen, this is Ray. This has been incredibly inspiring. Could you before we close out? There's a few things I want to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any books that you put out? Where can people find you?
Yeah.
Speaking, where can they go find more about Ray Cash Care?
You can either go to, I'm on Instagram at Ray Cash Care, or you can hit me up at frogmindset.com. And that's where we offer a couple different programs. Obviously, I'm working with Bedros. We have the project. We have a new Squire program that's father and son. We do corporate training where we can come to you and your company. That's Steve Eckhart and I, the Marine. Awesome. And then we also do online. I do accountability and pain coaching, one-on-one and group coaching. So hit me up and I'd love to, look at our avenues and see if we can make it work.
Well, very awesome. And listen, again, it's an honor to have you on. This was very inspiring. You got me sweating right now, which is a good thing. I know Derek enjoyed it as well. And we'll shoot you this link as soon as it goes on. We'll obviously tag you on social media. If anyone has any questions for Ray, I can tell you right now, he will definitely respond to you. I already know that.
Sure.
So we'll get some of our followers onto your page. And Ray, we can't thank you again.
Honored.
I'm sorry.
Seriously,
you,
big
Ray.
fan of both. I love what you guys are doing. Thank you. I'm honored.
Greg.
I was sweating a little bit too, guys.
I love it. Listen, once you get through this pandemic, anytime you're out to New York, I want you come by and we'll do a training session and we'll have some fun, grab some food, break some bread, and hopefully we can drag Derek out one of these days when he ends up leaving Vancouver.
Remember you said that because I'm going to be up there in November filming. I'll see you soon.
You better be. You better just call me. I'm telling you right now. I'm going to DM you right now. I know you have my info, but I'll DM you my cell and we'll stay connected.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, brother. Thanks,
Take care,
Steve.
Ray.